heir apparent to indie pop in uh I don't know, the music sphere. Maggie Rogers, the girl Wonder. I've
Yeah.
already talked about Wonderkind. We talked about Batgirl. Maggie Rogers kind of been tapped since her time at NYU as like the like next coming of pop since that like viral Pharrell video
Yeah.
dropped where he's listening to Alaska. And I guess like folk pop too was kind of like where she was at with Heard It in a Past Life. It was very like toned down, stripped back, but still like produced songs. And I think we both really liked Heard It in a Past Life. Felt like there's a lot of potential there. Haven't really heard a proper album from Maggie in a while. She's dropped some songs here and there and some collections of old tracks she's recorded, but we get Surrender finally dropping
Mhm.
this past Friday. And boy, I love this record. I was just totally blown away by what we got here. It was like completely unexpected, this like turn, and I was really enthralled by it. How'd you feel about what we got on Surrender?
Yeah, I liked it a lot as well. Like you said, Maggie Rogers been tapped for success at the very least several
Mhm.
years ago now. She was Grammy nominated for Best New Artist a few Grammys ago.
I think she won,
Her,
right?
yeah, no, she didn't win.
She didn't win.
Heard It in a Past Life came out 3.5 years ago. It's a bit of a wait for someone who had all this hype, anticipation, and momentum. But I would like to commend her for really honing in on like a musical identity. Cut her hair short, pixie cut is in. And what did she do? She did not go to work with Jack Antonoff like all the other female ingenues of pop in the last 5 years. She did not do that. What an awesome choice. Did she go to another super producer? She did. She went to Kid Harpoon, who obviously was all over the Harry Styles album. Regardless, though, she didn't make an album that sounds like all the other albums. You know,
Nope.
no shots at those women, but I like that she did something different.
Mhm.
And not only did she do something different, but what she did was good. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. I wasn't expecting to think back on Alanis Morissette and Fiona Apple while listening
Hmm.
to the second Maggie Rogers album, but that's what I did. What a
Yep.
what a what a pleasant surprise.
100% agree. And I didn't really get Fiona Apple, but now that you say, I definitely see a lot of the influence. Alanis definitely came to mind for me, like pure Alanis Morissette influence, but also like Beck and Arcade Fire, and even like Dixie Chicks at points. And it's
Mhm.
like it, she brought in like real guitars for this. She brought in heavy drum production. She really like pushed her vocals from being this like pretty within like a certain zone like
Mm,
on her
yes.
in a past life to like pushing herself to the extremes at both ends. And I just loved all the chances she took, and she just sounds so much more confident on this record, right? She spent the pandemic with her family up in Maine, getting a master's in divinity from Harvard, and while working on
Sure.
her master's was writing this music. And I think some of the songs are a bit corny and has some strange lines to them, but I think other songs are just really well written and kind of show off her strong lyrical ability. Probably not a perfect record in my opinion, but just completely satisfied with everything here. And it just actually feels, and we talk about, at least I talk about this a lot, it just feels like Maggie kind of unlocked a piece of her artistry that she hadn't really shown before, and it feels like there's a lot more potential to get some really exciting stuff from her in the future. So, why don't we dig in more to what we really liked about the album? Any songs that jump off right off the bat for you?
Yeah, there's a bunch. I'd say the lead single "Want Want" is a good one.
Yeah.
Just a really catchy chorus. The drums there quite
Hmm.
noticeable as well. I think there's a lot of really good choruses
Yeah.
on this. I thought "Anywhere with You,"
Hmm.
um, the emotion really kind of comes out in that chorus. But I think that song actually the bridge is like the highlight for sure. "Shatter" has a huge chorus. Honey, though, might be my favorite chorus because there's like those really long notes from Maggie, like as she sings, that really brought me back to like Avril Lavigne, her early stuff,
Yeah.
and it's just cool to hear those touch points going through the album. But even I've Got a Friend, which is an acoustic track, that also has a pretty strong chorus. It really feels
Yep.
like the choruses to me stood out, and shout out Maggie for co-writing all these songs with Kid Harpoon as well as co-producing all of them. Very much in control of this album, and to have this many like I think really sticky choruses that don't all sound the same, I think is
Mhm.
quite commendable.
Yeah, Honey is. I'm really glad you pointed that one out. Like the Avril Lavigne, like Alanis of it all, it really comes through in that song. Not only those like really long notes that she holds around the chorus, but the way that she sings them, she's almost like screeching kind of in them, and she has this like almost like new order, drum production on that, where it's just kind of like swirling underneath everything. Really, really cool. Want actually reminded me a lot of Beck. The song E Pro, which was a single off one of his, I forget which album it was back in 2006. I forget the name of it, but just like that like purring like guitar at the beginning of it that kind of just continues through and drives the song is great. And so often I found myself just being like, Maggie's gonna definitely end this song in just kind of like some like nice way. And she just usually like goes to like a little bridge and then builds right back up to this really like driving ending to a lot of these songs, which I really, really loved. Um, yeah, you hit on most of my favorites there, but I really don't know if there's like a track I like dislike on here. I
Mhm.
guess maybe songs like "Begging for Rain" are like some of my least favorites, just because they're a little bit more toned back. Um, a little bit more of her like her in a past life type Maggie, but man, I don't know. There's a lot of great stuff. Symphony might be some of her best songwriting on this whole thing, and it's not even a track I found myself going back to a lot. Just really, really strong. Shout out to Florence Welch singing backup vocals for her on
Mm,
Shatter. I mean, it's a great look right there,
overqualified for sure.
for sure. Um, yeah, what'd you think of Be Cool?
uh, Be Cool. I don't really remember much about Be Cool. What stood
It's
out to you about that one?
sorry, yeah, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there, but it's definitely stood out to me just because it's so like it's still drum driven, but it's pretty much just the drums and Maggie's voice and some synths, and she sings it like so beautifully. That like chorus, so be cool. And I just really like loved her vocal performance on that one. And I was trying to like put my finger on what influence I could hear in that one, and it feels like it's like right at top of mind, but I just can't unlock it. So I was kind of hoping you might have had a comparison, but we'll come back to it if we can think of it. Anything else on this though?
Yeah, I think you mentioned the drums on this thing. Shatter. The snares sound really good on that one. Up
Hmm.
tempo song in general. One of the more up tempo songs she has here. Um, yeah, I think overall the production, the instrumentation probably grabs me more, and her performance itself probably grabs me more than the lyrics themselves. And that was also the case with her in the past life, an album that I didn't think had much fat or filler on it at all. It's just really cool to see her basically do the same kind of thing, just with a completely different sound. And
Yeah.
I mean, she seems so confident on this. I'd have to imagine this is the kind of lane she feels most inspired to. Then again,
Hmm.
the kind of raw emotion that a lot of these songs have also directly feel like they came out of a COVID creation. So maybe this is just a moment in time for Maggie, TBD. Only 28. So we'll hopefully the next album is in 3.5 years from now, a little sooner,
Yeah.
we hope. But either way, definitely making good on all the hype that she had in 2016.
Yeah, absolutely. I think maybe just the last thing I wanted to highlight before we wrap up is That's Where I Am, because that really feels like a great bridge. If you really liked old Maggie like the stuff on Her in a Past Life, old Maggie Rogers, Her in a Past Life 3 years ago, and current Maggie album on Surrender, that's like the bridge to me, because there's so much of that production where it's like clicks and just kind of like pulling sounds in, pulling them back out really quickly, but it really uses some of that new production, that heavier drum, that heavier guitar, and allows her to just like use everything that she does well to uh, really make a great song. So definitely recommend this. We're putting a song or two on our Nostalgia Best of 2022